So this will be our first video in Foundational Math 17, Elementary Algebra, and we're going to start with variables. That's our first topic of the semester, as it should be, because of course variables are the things that distinguish algebra from arithmetic. So what is a variable? A variable is a symbol that represents an unknown quantity. It's something that we have to write when we don't know what the number is. For example, I could use variable L to represent length of a rectangle. I don't know what the length of the rectangle is unless somebody tells me. So to represent that number, I would have to use a variable. I may have to use letter P if I want to represent the price of apples. I don't know what the price of apples is, but if I have to do some operations with that number, I need some kind of a symbol for it. And so the variable P will do. So really, variables are nothing more than symbols that represent unknown numbers, unknown quantities. And one of the things that we do in algebra is we try to figure out what those unknown quantities are, or at the very least to simplify the expression that has those quantities. Now, before we get to this, the solving equations, the simplifying expressions, which is what most of this course will be about, I wanted to just say a few things about the notation that we use when we write variable expressions. And the first thing is we do not write multiplication sign when we're using variables in algebra. So if we want to say the number 2 is being multiplied by this unknown number y, the way we're going to write this is we're just going to say 2y, not writing the any operation between 2 and y implies multiplication. Another example would be if I wrote something like this. Notice there is no sign between the 2 in the parentheses, and that means that there is an implied multiplication sign. So this is the same thing as saying 2 times the sum of y and 3. So that's the first thing. You're never going to see multiplication written in an algebra expression. And the second thing is also we don't use the division sign. So if we ever wanted to say something like 4 divided by a, we would instead write it as a fraction 4 over a. The division sign is never used because fractions are a more compact, cleaner way of writing. So these are the two things that you should get somewhat used to. And in the next video, we're going to talk about evaluating expressions.